You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Why do the globalists attack the family, men and women? They do it because, as Mahatma Gandhi said, the seed of the universe is within each of us. We are made in the image of God. And when they attack women, the progenitor of life, they attack men, they attack children, they attack us all. Here's Paul Watson's report on the bizarre excesses of the anti-human, transhumanist super-Nazis that are the feminazis.
According to Facebook executive Sheryl Sandberg, men are just not washing enough dishes and changing enough dirty diapers. Her organisation, Lean In, is spearheading a feminist PR campaign backed by the NBA to lecture men to, quote, take more responsibility for housework and childcare, ordering them to do their, quote, fair share of daily chores by taking care of, quote, dishes in the sink or laundry piling up.
I tell women all the time, let your husband put the diaper on the kid's head. Just let him do it himself.
Imagine
we need
her
to live in a world where men do half, women let them do half, and being a parent's not a full-time job for a woman and a part-time job for a man.
Right, because it's not as if men are already doing their fair share of chores, is it? Taking out the trash, cutting the grass, yard work, shoveling snow, fixing cars, general repairs. Nothing. Men just get home, beat their wives, shout at their children, sink into the sofa and crack open a six-pack. It's not as if men work more hours than women. It's not as if men work far more dangerous jobs than women. It's not as if 92% of all workplace fatalities are men. It's not as if men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide. No. Men have got it just too damn easy and they need to get their asses in that kitchen. And who have feminists enlisted to deliver this lecture? LeBron James, a guy who's probably got 5 maids and spends about 3 hours a week at home. But isn't it ironic that Sandberg, architect of the Ban Bossy campaign, is now bossing men on how to behave in the privacy of their own homes? But it doesn't seem to concern the NBA that Sandberg's Ban Bossy campaign was based on completely fraudulent and debunked statistics. No, they're more concerned about being called sexist if they refuse to prostrate themselves and be used as a mouthpiece for this new brand of corporate feminism. But isn't it ironic that Sandberg is pushing a feminist campaign for a 50-50 share of the housework, when for decades feminist groups have opposed the 50-50 share of child support burden? So who's supporting this campaign? A brave coalition of grassroots feminist groups? No. Bank of America, Brown Brothers Harriman, Citibank, DuPont, GE, Goldman Sachs, GlaxoSmithKline, Morgan Stanley and Time Warner. In other words, the very corporate patriarchy that feminists rail against. Because as with every major feminist PR campaign, this has nothing to do with advancing equality and everything to do with creating more division between the sexes through social engineering and the promotion of misandry.
Sorry, it's a boy.
We're talking untold millions of dollars in free advertising, months of NBA commercials for this, Google devoting its homepage to the campaign, Yahoo, Microsoft, and of course Facebook, all in support. And just by coincidence, as she prepares to launch her presidential run on the foundation of the debunked pay gap myth, Hillary Clinton is also throwing her support behind the initiative. Listen, divorce rates are already in the 40 to 50% margin. There's a direct correlation between the rise of feminism in Western society and the rise in divorce rates. Feminism has clearly been a disaster for relationships between men and women.
Which it was designed to do.
Feminism is a cancer to marriage in America. This campaign is only going to lead to more pressure on men, more resentment, more arguments, and the breakdown of more relationships. So Sheryl Sandberg, Hillary Clinton, the NBA, and all the moronic feminists promoting this, stop lecturing people on how to behave in the privacy of their own homes. Stop being bossy by dictating how gender roles and household tasks should be decided upon by couples. Stop implying that men are deficient or losers because they're not doing enough laundry or not cleaning enough dirty dishes after they've broken their backs all day working 2 jobs just to put food on the table. Stop exploiting the communication power of corporate giants to push cultural Marxism, which will eventually leave not just men, but particularly women, financially insecure, regretful, alone, and miserable, just like the army of joyless feminist harpies that you represent.
But that's the plan, is to wreck women. Yeah, again, we say, oh, it's a screw-up. It doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense by all these mega banks raping us to get us fighting with each other. Great report by Paul Watson. We're going to talk about it coming up. Stay with us. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Thank you for joining us on this Sunday worldwide broadcast, the 8th day already of March 2015. Hard to believe we're already 3+ months into the new year. Before we know it, it'll be 2016 and beyond. I wanted to get Lionel on because he's a former prosecutor in a big city in Florida. He's also a former defense lawyer, constitutional lawyer, and he's hosted big TV shows, syndicated radio, you name it. He's in the top 50 biggest talkers, according to Talkers Magazine. But I just like having him on to get his analysis. And I had the former chief counsel of the FCC on last week, the lawyer who got rid of the Fairness Doctrine back in 1987. And, of course, that's Bruce Fein. And he said, look, notice they haven't released, and they still haven't released, we're a week and a half into this now, the FCC 300 and something pages. And you know when Obama's supporting it and Hillary's supporting it, and Republican leadership didn't block it. They went along with it. That it is a federal power grab. There was no federal jurisdiction really over the internet, other than, quote, cybersecurity, you know, defending against attacks in government installations. So this is what they always wanted. So in the name of protecting it, the government's taking it over and won't let us see what they're doing. Boy, that's not a good sign. Hey, I've taken over your house to protect it. You can't come in and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, but that's the way it is. So we've got that. Now, the Republicans have brought in this, I've got it here in my stack. What's it called? Internet Protection Act? Internet Freedom Act?
Internet Freedom Act.
It's got its own Orwellian name. In fact, I had a copy of it in my stack when I covered it Friday. Maybe you can pull that. I read it. It looks like a pretty good bill. It says the FCC doesn't have jurisdiction. But then it goes on to say companies can basically do business if they want to. Well, then that means the companies can come in and start violating people and violating antitrust. And the problem is we're not enforcing antitrust laws. So we already have laws on the books. But I'm telling you, this is burn down the house to save it. This is throw out the baby with the bathwater. This is cut your nose off to spite your face. And I've got all these leftists out there who aren't really leftists. They're like fascistic cult members, like a tree of parrots repeating the same thing, that I'm horrible and Ron Paul's wrong, saying this is the end of the free internet if this goes through. No, we're right. And you're going to sit back and watch it. Just like Obamacare, we actually had the bill with the death panels and tripling prices and all the new taxes on poor people. And now you notice the insurance companies have had double, triple the increase in profits domestically. Worldwide, almost 50% increase in profits in 2013, 2014 alone. You can pull those numbers up. It's all over the Wall Street Journal, you name it. Worldwide insurance companies are feasting on America right now. They wrote it. The Republican leadership helped write it. So you got a bipartisan system going on right now. You've got the Republican freshmen trying to unseat Boehner. They've introduced a bill to try to protect the internet. I'm not saying it's perfect, but that's where law comes from, is the legislative. And at least you can read it. you can see what's in it. Now that's my take. I don't know Lionel's take. From LionelMedia.com. Follow him on Twitter, @LionelMedia. I don't know Lionel's take as a former prosecutor and a constitutional lawyer, but I'm sure he'll be able to give us his angle on it. Lionel, do you think I got it straight or am I wrong?
Absolutely spot on, my dear friend, fellow patriot and constitutional sentry. You know, Alex, as a licensed member of the New York, Florida, and Supreme Court bars, somebody who has devoted all of his adult life to that which is the Constitution, I noticed something which is very interesting. The government wanted a long time ago to figure out how to seize control of the internet. How could it do it? Because up to now, the internet was kind of no man's land. It was this uncharted territory. Because whether DARPA was involved or whether it was military or academia, the government turned its back, and there it was, the internet. And they said, holy moly, what do we do? Every time they tried to do something, they said, you don't have jurisdiction. You don't have jurisdiction to tax, to limit, to censor, nothing. So they tried every way possible. So what they did was, and you were so correct, Alex, because they give it a Orwellian name, something that's anodyne, something that sounds harmless. Net neutrality. Who in their right mind could be against net neutrality? And to make a long story very, very short, and I'm sorry for all these sounds and bells.
We love it. It's like a newsroom. Go ahead.
Whatever. So instead of doing that, they said, let's do something, and let's tell the consumer that this is somehow going to quash or stifle or keep down evil corporatocracies to allow your speed to remain free and unfettered. And you get Al Franken and Bernie Sanders and Amy Goodman and the usual cast of characters, and they're applauding it, like barking seals. And the professional left said, sounds good to me. And I've got friends of mine, Alex, who are very smart people, who believe that somehow this is a strike against corporate bad guys. What this was step one. It's the camel with his nose under the tent. It's the ability under Title II of the Communications Act to construe and to declare the internet heretofore free, like oxygen, like the atmosphere.
Like the wind.
Yes. Now it's declared as a utility or a common carrier. But now in this grab, it's just been pulled into the province, the jurisdictional control for the first time ever of the government. Now, Alex, the FCC, the people who gave us the wardrobe malfunction. There I was, Alex, watching the Super Bowl one night with a friend. And something happened with Janet Jackson. You had to have the visual acuity of a fighter pilot. That nobody, let
us draw attention to her breast with the sun symbol, and now let us fine everyone. Exactly. This is a very totalitarian, stifling organization.
Those guys are in charge of the internet now. They also gave you, if you remember, the famous moment of Bono and his fleeting expletive. During an award ceremony, he said something was blanking brilliant. Nobody really compared, but Fox got him for 50.
But let's expand on that. They want to tax it. They want to regulate it. They've said it before. What about them not releasing it? And then it doesn't come from Congress.
That's it. Look, let's go further. Licensing. This is a utility, Alex. You can't open up Alex Jones Power.
It's like a liquor license now.
Right. Never before. Thank you, Al Franken. Thank you, Bernie Sanders. We were doing just fine. People got their porn and their news, and everything was just hunky-dory. So you can do licensing. Next, you can do actually decency. We can, for the first time, tell you, because remember, I'm going to say this over and over again, they never had a basis of jurisdiction before. Under I think it was EFF, Electronic Foundation, they asked, what are these general control guidelines, these rules? What are they? What is this conduct code that you allude to? They haven't answered the question.
It's just a totally nebulous power grab, anything they want.
Yes. So let's also look at the quiver. You've got licensing. They're going to bring back the fairness doctrine. A lot of your viewers and listeners, Alex, I don't think understand what that was. That was in response to Ronald Reagan and the sudden, the catastrophic, if you will, success of Rush Limbaugh. to come up with this idea of equal time, which was the worst thing ever. So that's possible. Next.